Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All at Once. I am your host, Alexis Christine. If you're new here, welcome. This is a podcast all about spiritual growth, inner healing, holistic health, esoteric topics, and anything else you could want to know along those lines. If you get the vibe, you get the vibe. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. I am so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I actually get asked about a lot, and it's kind of a buzzword at the moment. So I want to give a little bit more clarity around this. It is energy vampires, okay? And there's so much going around right now about what an energy vampire is, how to protect yourself from an energy vampire, all these different types of energy vampires that aren't actually the actual types of energy vampires. So I want to go through today and just explain to you the three main types of energy vampires, because energy vampires is a very broad topic. It's like an apple. Like there's so many different types of apples, but they're all an apple, you know? So energy vampire is just that. It's a term, and there's a few different types of energy vampires. I'm going to go over the top three that you may encounter, what it's like, what the experience is when you're with them, how to know that they're there, how they work, and how to protect yourself from them. So this is going to be a very informational episode. A lot of us actually experience energy vampires without realizing it. So if you've ever hung out with someone or gone to a social event or whatever it is and come home and just felt so energetically drained, that is likely because you were in contact with an energy vampire. This can be one-on-one. This can also be in group social settings. There's likely going to be multiple in big group settings. And even if you just have like a small little exchange with them, their energy is still kind of leaching from the masses. But essentially, that is a really big sign that you have been in contact with an energy vampire. So there are three main types of energy vampires that I want to talk about today. The first one is karmatic or a karmic energy vampire. And the second and third are the same, but not. One is a succubus energy vampire and one is an incubus energy vampire. Succubus is in the female form, incubus is in the male form, but they essentially are the same type of energy vampire and do the same thing, just to the opposite genders. So I'm going to go through all three of those. So when I was living in Costa Rica, most of you will know if you've been listening to the pod that I was in contact living with a succubus, okay? So an energy vampire. And I tried to force myself to believe that she wasn't and that everything was fine because I was living my dream. I was in my dream country, my dream climate, living with a man I was like deeply in love with, having the best time of my life. And I did not want to have to leave that situation. So I was in denial, and I basically convinced myself that no, this girl can't be an energy vampire. Like, I just feel overwhelmed because she has such big energy, and I'm going to make it work because she's his friend and blah, 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 one big happy family, yada, yada, whatever. The first sign that I should have listened to that I ignored was right away. She was just so much energy, and I automatically felt drained. And this is different from someone who just has a big personality. They might be annoying to you, but they don't drain your energy, okay? Energy vampires in general, they will make you feel so drained, make you feel lifeless. And within 2 days, I had gone to my guy friend and said, hey, I know that she's your friend, but I don't know how long I am going to be able to live with her for. In small doses, I can handle it, but in long doses, it's starting to really affect my energy. And that should have been sign one for me, and I should have left. But like I said, I did not want to leave. I wanted to stay living with him and living our happy little life in Costa Rica and going to the beach and being in the tropics. And I didn't want to give that up. Of course, things spiraled and I ended up staying for 8 months, but that's besides the point. This type of drain is different from being an introvert and feeling socially drained when you come back from some sort of social outing. Okay. Like, yes, you might feel tired. You might just want to take some time alone to recoup. Maybe you want to read your book. Maybe you want to zone out into your shows, like whatever kind of introverty activities you do on your own to recharge yourself. This is completely different. This is genuinely, I have no life left in me. I literally want to fall asleep and never wake up. I am so tired. I can't even lift a finger type of drain. Okay. And the severity of it will be different based on how long and how intense of a interaction you had with the person, but that's generally the type of feeling that you will have. The second sign that came through that I should have paid attention to and just ignored was the constant need to portray herself as some sort of victim. And this is different from when someone is just in victim mode and can't take responsibility for how their actions create their reality and they feel like everything's happening to them. This is the type of mentality where they are the martyr or they're the damsel in distress, and they come across feeling very weak, very fragile. They can't do anything for themselves. You need to help them. And they're eliciting that feeling of empathy from you and that human nature of needing to help someone to then siphon your energy. So this girl, for example, when she was on her own, when it was just me and her, whatever, she was very strong, very independent, very outspoken, and had a completely different personality. And then whenever she went into these little victim modes, it was like you could poke her and shatter her. Like that's how weak she would try and come across so that she would be seen as this helpless victim who needed saving. This is a form of energetic manipulation because they then feed off of your energy. The more energy you're pouring into them, the more they can take from you. And every day there was another issue. She was always crying. There was always something wrong, whether someone from her past texted her and triggered her, or she had a bad dream about something, or some sort of traumatic situation from the past resurfaced. She was always in some state of distress, some state of despair, of needing help, of needing the big savior to come in and save her from whatever it was she was going through because she was too weak to do it on her own. And this type of behavior was continuously eliciting from me and my guy friend this feeling of needing to help her and needing to be there for her and support her. And I actually think that that's one of the main things that brought me into such a dark and helpless place, because I was putting so much of my energy into wanting to help and wanting to make her feel better, genuinely thinking that she needed it, like convincing myself that she wasn't an energy vampire and this was a real problem, that I wasn't able to recoup my own energy and re-energize myself, because I would spend so much on her, then she would feed off of me, and I would just be so tired, so kind of all over the place, that I didn't have the energetic capacity to build myself back up and raise my vibration back up from the low place that she had pulled it. She had pulled me back down into the vibration she was sitting at to feed off me, and I couldn't get myself back up. And because we were living together, I didn't really have an escape from it, because even if I was leaving the house, because we lived so far away from the town, when you leave the house, at least one or two people generally come with you because there's errands to run, there's things to do, whatever. So it was very rare that I got time on my own. And the third sign that, again, I chose to ignore was that she would twist every single interaction, every single story in a way that benefited her. So whether it was that she was completely innocent and did nothing wrong and people were just being mean to her out of nowhere, or her coming off as a martyr, or her coming off as a victim, or whatever it was, she would always twist a story to make it seem like she was the innocent one in the situation. And even times when I was with her for a situation that had happened, when we would go back and she would relay it to our guy friend, even though I was there, she would switch it and manipulate the story to be something completely different to what had actually happened. And again, this is using the energetic manipulation. Same thing of wanting to save them, feeling sorry for them. And this is actually a tactic to turn whoever they're telling the story to against the other person in the story that's made to seem like they are in the wrong. Because when they have your full attention and you're pouring energy into them, they can feed off of you. When your energy is shared between different people and there's less attention on them, there's less energy for them to feed off of. So one of their goals is to manipulate the situations and turn people against each other, but not against them. So this type of energy vampire will say, I have a group of 3 friends around me, manipulate the situation so that all 3 friends are okay with me and they're on my side, but they're against each other. Because then they're only giving their energy towards me and they're not giving their energy towards each other. And I have more energy coming into my field to feed off of. Does that make sense? So those are 3 examples of what I went through that was signifying this is an energy vampire that I wasn't necessarily seeing. I was kind of missing. I was choosing to ignore because I didn't want to leave the situation. So if any of this sounds familiar to you or resonant with you with anyone in your life, big sign right there, big red flag. And I just want to give a quick PSA that these people are not inherently bad, okay? There's nothing wrong with these people who are the different types of energy vampires. There's just lower vibrational entities that are working through them, using them as a tool. So if they were to do their own healing work and raise their vibration and kind of clear all of the things that they're going through and bring themselves into a high vibration, those entities would not be able to work through them anymore, and they would be able to remove themselves from this energy vampire vibe that they are sitting in. So it's not that it's that person specifically, but they're being used as a tool. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the 3 different types that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So the first one is karmatic or karmic energy vampire, and this is one of the most common ones you will see. You can also see it described as things like the narcissistic vampire or the judgment vampire or whatever. There's all these like random labels people have thrown in for, I guess, a way of segregating how people experience energy vampires, but it generally is just a karmic energy vampire. So these karmatic energy vampires have this internal narrative where they're constantly whining, they're constantly complaining, life is so hard, life is only hard for them, etc. They use that belief system to turn that into their reality and make their life actually so much harder for them and then the people around them also. They will also try to use different manipulation tactics to get their way and to get things basically to perform in a way or to happen in a way that matches their belief system of, oh, my life is so hard, why me kind of energy. The way that they work in general is that they want to create a very strong emotional reaction from you. So they'll go about this in ways where they're kind of hitting your trigger points, your core wounds, expecting a response of being triggered, of shame, of anger, of fear, of whatever it is. Think of when you get triggered and you just kind of lash out or you feel really hurt or whatever it is, a very deep unhealed core wound. That's what they're trying to trigger in you, because they can then feed off of your reaction, off of the energy that you're outpouring towards them in whatever sort of reaction you're having. The more energy that you put into them, the more that they're able to feed off of you. So just remember that. They also will create a sense of false connection between you and them so that they can continuously keep feeding. So with the girl in Costa Rica, for example, she made it out to seem like we were the best of friends. We got along so well, blah, 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 all of these things. And then she would continuously feed off of me. But behind my back, she was basically kind of like being two-faced, kind of playing both sides, like really close with me, really close with him. But then behind each other's back, she would say bad things about him to me. She would say bad things about me to him. And it would create this kind of like internal chaos. But then as the person who it's being done to, you think you're actually really close with this person. So you continue to talk to them, to give them energy, to tell them things, and they just feed off of you in that way. So a few different ways you can spot specifically a karmic energy vampire is look at how you feel before you interacted with them versus after you interacted with them. If you start to feel low, tired, insecure, self-critical, just not happy with yourself, not happy overall, you're just in kind of a lower energetic vibe, then you are likely interacting with an energy vampire. If a person is really, really needy, that can also be another form of how they show up, because they need to take energy from you. So being needy ensures that people will constantly be paying attention to them and they can continuously feed. They will also always have this kind of need for attention and want people to feel bad for them. Again, because the more attention and energy they have towards themselves, the more energy they have to feed off of. So that's a little bit about the karmatic or karmic energy vampires. Now I want to go into the incubus and the succubus, okay? So they are both technically classed as demons, if you want to get into the whole lore of it. But what they are is they are energy beings. I'm just going to call them that because demons kind of sounds a little dark for people who aren't really in this world. They're energy beings. The incubus are males. The succubuses are females. And they will siphon energy through people, through sexual energy. So the incubuses, which are the males, will siphon female energy, and the succubuses, which are the females, will siphon male energy. So they will use this form of sacred sexuality that we have here on earth, our divine masculine, our divine feminine, and use that to manipulate the people that they're trying to siphon the energy from. And it doesn't actually matter whether or not a sexual act is done, because you can still use that type of energy to manipulate people and to get what you want out of them. So it's just that act of using the energy to manipulate a situation. Whether or not a physical act occurs doesn't matter. They can still get energy and siphon energy from you through that form of manipulation. And by doing that, by creating this energetic manipulation, they kind of put the person that they're feeding off of in this energetic space of holding. And then they can feed off of that person whenever they want, because they've already created that energetic attachment to the person they're feeding off of. So anytime they need something, they just whip something out with their manipulation tactic, and that person's ready to be there for them and do whatever so that they can feed. It's like almost like an energetic bridge they've created between the succubus or the incubus and the person they're feeding off of. This type of manipulation can also be very subtle at times. You might miss it, but it is there. And these beings possess very low energy, very low vibrations. And they also encompass a lot of the typical energy vampire traits, I guess, as well. So here are some signs that you may be in contact with an incubus or a succubus. So one of the things is if you have frequent erotic, I'll use the word erotic, frequent erotic dreams. So the way that incubuses and succubus actually can siphon energy is through sexual encounters in your dreams. So if you're having a lot of, I'm just going to say it, sex dreams, or you feel like you wake up and you have the physical symptoms of just sleeping with someone, or you have dreams of sleeping with someone from your past or someone that you know, but their face kind of changes throughout the dream, those are all signs that you are in contact with an incubus or a succubus. In the 3D form, like here on Earth, these people will have a very lustful personality. So if you think of a guy who has like a kill count of 300 and they literally don't care who they're sleeping with, as long as there's a hole, they'll put it in there. They just need that constant lustful interactions. That right there is an incubus. Same for female. You see it less often, but there definitely are the females who will just sleep with whoever, whenever. They don't really care. They just want to sleep with someone. That's another sign that that's a succubus. If you come into contact with one of these in the 3D after sleeping with them, you will feel very tired, very drained, and all your energy will be gone. You will just want to knock out. A lot of times they will also have a roster of people who are ready. So think about if like you know someone who you're thinking maybe they are one, they will likely have a roster of people where anytime they need something, they can just send a text or give a call or whatever it is, and the people on the roster will come running without a second thought. And this is totally different from having actual friendships, because my friends can call me and I will do anything for them. I can call them, they'll do anything for me. That is a two-way, a two-sided relationship there. When it's an incubus or a succubus and they have this roster, it's very one-sided. The people on the roster will drop anything and do whatever it is that the incubus or the succubus needs, but they're not getting a lot in return from the incubus or the succubus. They might get a flirty text here and there, maybe some like random things, but it's a very one-sided relationship. So if you're suspecting that maybe you're dating or with someone who could be a succubus or an incubus, there's some things that you can look at. What is the dynamic of your relationship with this person? Okay, what is the dynamic like? Do you feel like it's very one-sided? Do you feel like there's always some sort of drama that they're bringing up? Are they always lusting after other people even if they don't physically do anything? Do they have a lot of like very flirty interactions with people? And like, yeah, I get it. Like flirting can be fun. It can be very validating in some ways, but there's like a limit, you know? What are some of the repeating patterns that you're seeing? Are there always arguments? Are there always drama? Are they always presenting themselves as a victim? Are they always talking bad about other people? Look at the kind of interactions you're having with this person and what their personality, what their energy is like. And so now that you know a little bit about the karmatic energy vampires, the incubuses and the succubuses, I want to share how you can stop them if you feel like you do have some of these in your life. So the first thing is work through your triggers, okay? Like I mentioned with the karmatic energy vampires, is they feed off of your feelings of shame and sadness, anger, grief, whatever it is, when they hit that core wound. Okay. So if you are able to work through that, find the subconscious wounding through neural reprogramming. I have a free meditation on my YouTube through doing the shadow work. Again, I have a free shadow work guide and a shadow work course. Through all of that kind of inner work and inner healing, when they try and trigger you, once you've healed it, there is no reaction for them to feed off of. There's nothing for them to elicit from you that they can then take and feed for themselves because you've healed it. There is no core wound for you to feel triggered by. You've worked through that wound and it's no longer some kind of explosive that when someone talks about it or touches upon it, you explode, you know? Having a secure and a healed reaction will give them absolutely nothing to work with. It will also, like working through these and healing will also in turn raise your energetic vibration, and you will begin to attract less of these beings into your life because like I said, they feed off of that lower energetic vibration. So if they sense that there's a person who has a lower vibration, they're then drawn to it because they know that that's an energy source. If you have a really high vibration and you're working through things and you're doing and living your best life, they're not going to be coming around you as often because there's nothing to feed off of. Does that make sense? The next thing is energetic protection, and this is super important. We have 2 weeks going over just energetic protection in Starseed School. And I also have the Golden Goddess Energy Pack, which you can download, and it has some energetic protection protocols in there as well. But I will literally, you guys, the main thing is put up your shield. Put up your protection shield, especially if you're in a situation where you have to be with this person. Like say it's a coworker who's an energy vampire and you don't have a choice, you have to be around them. Your energetic protection, keeping that shield up is going to be one of the biggest things you can do to keep you protected. Every single morning, do an energetic cleanse, okay? Shower, put up your protection bubble. In the evening, do an energetic cleanse. Maybe that's a shower, maybe it's smudging, maybe it's clearing your space, whatever it is. And then put up your protection bubble. Your energy is so important. You can feel energy when you walk into a room, right? Like if something's really tense and you walk into a room, there's the expression you could cut the tension with a knife. You're feeling everyone's energetic field around you. And so making sure that your energetic field is protected is one of the most important things. When our auric bubble, our auric sphere, is actually in balance, it should be about 10 feet away from you in all directions, okay? And so think about it. You're standing next to a person, you're well within that 10 feet. So you're already interacting with their energy. And so when you're doing your meditation and your visualization for your energetic bubble, make sure that if you're seeing your energetic bubble closer to you than 10 feet or like really sparse, really spread out, that you bring that back into balance and keep it stable. The next thing, this is one of the biggest things, okay, you guys, one of the biggest things for every time in your life, for always, not just for energetic vampires, is avoid touching them if you can, because touching someone increases the energetic connection so much. Think about when you like touch someone and there's a spark, or if you have a crush on someone and they like touch you or they brush your leg or whatever, you like feel that energy. You're like, oh my God. It's because energetic touch amplifies connection. And so if you have to be around this energy vampire, try and avoid creating a physical connection, a touching connection, because that will keep them a little bit more distanced from you. This is actually one of the reasons why I fucking hate hugging people. Like, I genuinely don't understand this new thing where every time you enter a party or a room or like a group gathering or whatever it is, you have to go around and hug every single person. My energy is so sacred, and my energy bubble is, I don't need all of this extra energy in there. If I know you and I like you and I know that you have good energy, fine, I will give you a hug. Human connection is a vital part of our life. We need it to survive. But I don't need to be going around hugging like 20 people. Do you know what I mean? I am the queen of when I leave a party, I just say, bye guys, and I walk out. I don't need to be hugging everyone, because it does alter your energetic field. Other people's energy coming in will alter your field. And so don't hug strangers if you don't need to. Feel okay setting the boundary of not wanting to hug someone who you don't really like or you don't really get good vibes from. It's okay. You're protecting your own energy and you're preventing different energetic connections from being attached to you. And then again, this goes back into the whole energetic cord situation from the previous episode with cord cutting. There's just so many different ways to build cords. Like, you don't need all of this extra crap coming into your energetic field. And then one more thing I want to add is using black tourmaline can actually help repel the negative energy away from you. It can block energy feeders. So things like energy vampires have a harder time accessing your energy field. So you can wear it as a ring, bracelet, necklace. You can carry it in your bag, whatever you want. But black tourmaline is really, really useful for this. So that is it on today's episode about energy vampires. I hope that it was useful for you guys and that you learned a lot. If you guys have any questions, of course, always reach out at iam.alexischristine on Instagram or on TikTok. You can comment below if you're watching this on YouTube, and I am always here to answer any more questions that you guys need help on. If you enjoyed the episode, please give us a rating. I say us, it's just me. Please give the show a rating and share it to any of your friends who you think might be interested. Share it to your story, whatever it is. Any type of sharing is very helpful to kind of expand the reach of the pod so that we can help as many people on their journey as possible. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.